only on video, right?
Yeah, I know,
So,
but
what are these? What are these? What is this? What is this? Like, if you think that field has some kind of significance, then you should talk about
no, I
it.
don't because this drawing doesn't.
So what is the change?
Okay, everyone, I'm going to show you how I would draw one of these sections on the long section. When you come to draw, this is assignment 2 by the way, but it's very important, so you don't want to be referring to this in 2 or 3 weeks' time and forgotten all about it. If we do a section that way, it's pretty much going to follow 1 or 2 contours, which means the ground's going to be pretty much flat when you draw it up, the ground line. And it's in a fill situation from about 19 onwards, so there's not going to be a lot of platform shown. It's going to be a thin sliver of platform. It's important to do the sections in that direction, but when we come to doing the sections for our volumes, I want you to do them this way. So, in this direction here. And probably looking that way too. For assignment 2, we need to draw up section A and section B. I'm going to draw section A up. And it does get rather cluttered, and these sections do make you think a little bit about how you're going to look, how the pipe's going to look, what the outlet structure is going to look like, and why things are way up in the air. Some things are going to be way up in the air, others will be down quite low. It's not going to look right because of things in the background, etc. So the levels are going to be hard to calculate on the pipe because you're not taking the section along the pipeline. Where are we taking the section? Well, we're going to be taking the section between the midpoint here of this line here. So we'll make sure our O-snap's on, and we'll make sure midpoint is one of them. Okay, so I'm going to do a line from the midpoint across to the midpoint over here. And how far am I going to extend it? Well, on this side I'm going to have to extend it at least past the creek. On this side it doesn't really matter, but I would very much like to get that tree in, if I can. So about there. Then I'll use the extend command, click on that line, and then click on the end of here, and you'll see I've extended my extension line through to the pink lines. Any questions on that so far? No. Okay. Just answer my own question. So that's our cut line, and we're looking up the page. As you can see, the cut line is not on the same angle as the pipe, so things are going to look a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the ground line, and as you all know, it's natural, so we just draw a line from here, for example, up, that'll be 17.2. So I'll aim upwards and type in 17.2. A line from here on the same contour, 17.2. A line. I'll go for, let me see, Simon. You see that a bit better? No. No?
Yellow, okay.
Yellow, my favourite colour. Perfect. Same colour as Nora's car. That's, at least you can see that, okay? But it does get a little bit confusing, but anyway, my ground line is going to be coming up here like this. So at least that bit's relatively easy to draw, and I'll continue doing it. So that'll be 18.4, and a line from here at 18.6. Last one should be 20.6. Okay, so that's our basic section, and I'm going to copy that information now across and away from my main pipeline. But I'm going to take the whole pipeline with me because I have a reason for that. I'm going to take it over here. And the reason for the pipeline is that I want to try and strike the levels at both ends. So to do that, I'll take a line from here, a line from here down, and I'll make this line here meet up with it. Turn that off. So can anyone tell me the start level of the pipe?
19.
What? 18?
19.
19, okay, 19 it is, everyone's going to do 19, right, and what about the end level of the pipe, what did you calculate that at without giving too much away? Anyone done that calculation yet? Or have they drawn the long section?
16.142.
I get 16.142, but okay, I'll accept it. I didn't know that I've done that calculation. 16.142. So if we take a line from here down to that point, then on our cross section that will be the levels. We're going to have to cut that off at some point. I'll show you why. Because when we go into here, okay, I'm going to have to go inside the viewport, take the hand of Maradona, going to pan it along to my drawing. I don't know if you can see that very well. Yes, you can. Alright. Now that looks pretty good. Even if I say so myself, I'll change the colour to something a little bit more, make it pink so you can see it. So we can all see the long section, cross section, right? But the problem is that viewport's wrong because the cross sections in assignment 2 are 1 to 50. So we have to adjust that. So we'll go inside here and go Z enter 1000/50 XP. And all of a sudden we've got a bit of a problem with all the pink stuff going on. I've already said I want to see the creek, which is here. And that's about as far as we're going to be able to go. And even then we've got a bit of an issue, and the issue is where we're going to put our notes and all that. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm going to put a little circle here, just so that oh, I don't need to, I can estimate roughly how far we're going to go. So, okay, back in here, just so you can see it, and change it back to yellow. Okay, so we're doing the cross section through here. We're looking that way. We've got trees. There are trees over there. Right. This tree here is going to have a little bit of that shown, but the main trunk is not going to be in it. So it's going to look a bit weird. It's going to look like a cloud with no trunk, right? Whereas this tree over here, you're looking up at it, so that's going to be in the distance. And it will have a trunk. And if you look up there, the trunk looks like it's going to be centered on about 17 point, this this is 17.2.4.6. So it's going to be centred on about 17.6. It's going to be behind the platform and quite a bit high in the air. And I would say anything behind the platform, anything in the ground is going to have a dashed line. Anything above the ground is going to be prominent. So that one you'll see the full trunk, the full tree, but half it will be dashed, the bottom half, the top half won't be.
Is that below existing ground?
It's going to be below the platform itself.
So the fill level?
So the fill level, yeah. But in behind. Whereas this one's in front, but the trunk won't be seen. It's all a wee bit odd, but it'll come, you'll perhaps get the idea once I've done it. We've already struck the two levels, which is good, because we actually cheated. We used that end of the pipe and that end of the pipe, and we went up to find the two levels. Okay, so I'll draw the pipe on in a minute, but we're going to have to break that pipe, and I'll show you how I'd like that done as well. The other end of the pipe is broken here, right where it goes into the creek. So we'll show that as well. So we've got a wee bit to do here in terms of what the whole thing looks like. But the most important thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to set to the green layer, and I'm going to draw a line that comes off approximately the edge of here. So that's the edge of one tree, and the edge of the other trees roughly, the other side is roughly there. The level of that tree is going to be somewhere around about from there up 21. So here's the level of my tree. Look how high up in the air it is. So this is a bit of a strange one, but okay, there's the level of the tree. These two here are the widths of the tree. We said it's going to be 6 metres, so let's take that right across. And let's offset 6. Okay, so that's where our tree's going to be inside that box there. So it's quite a wide, flat tree. This one here is going to be between there and the other end. And it's going to be at 17.6 because that's roughly on that line there. So where's the centre line? To do the tree we have to go from here back down to the bottom, perpendicular to here, and then back up again 17.6. Okay, so just like we thought, the tree is going to be below the line. Okay? Now I'm going to stretch that tree over to here, stretch that over to the other one, and we're going to offset that by 6. Sorry, offset. Oh, yes. Over it. Something's gone a bit funny today. Try that one. Offset 6, and click on here. And we'll click up. Okay, so there's my box for the tree there. You're probably wondering why I'm drawing boxes. It's just going to make it a lot easier to position the tree later on. Okay, so we've got the tree, we've got the pipeline. In fact, we'll offset that by 450 to give us the actual pipeline there. and the actual pipeline there. We've got the tree, we've got the pipeline. We haven't done the platform. What level's the platform?
9.1.
19.1. Yep. And we'll do the 19.1 from that side. Do a line across. Sorry, we do a line from here across to here, which is our platform. And I'm now going to do a dramatic, I know that, I'm going to change that. I'll leave it. Okay, what now? Now I'm going to move everything that, no, I'm going to delete everything I don't need. So I'm going to erase some of these contours to make life a bit easier for me. Unfortunately, I think we're not on a layer that I can freeze. I'm going to keep on the creep, because at some point I'll need that. These must be contours that we need. What layer are they on? See if I can contour. No, let's freeze it for a second. Yeah, that helps quite a bit to see what we're trying to do. What layer are these things on?
Levels. And spotlights of the circles.
Right, so levels and spotlights. That's good. I'm happy about that. What's the tree on?
Tree.
No, I think you'll find it's not. It's on a wee layer. Block. I've just been drawing on that, so I'll have to leave them on at the moment. Okay, so I'll erase the tree actually. Erase the platform, because we've already drawn up from that. Not much left now. Okay, the platform itself is going to have a 1-to-1 slope here, so I'm going to go one up, and then back to here, which will allow me to draw the that was a bit of a weird ringtone. On a competition, it's probably right up there with some of the weirdest I've heard. Just as weird as my one. I'm extending that line down, so we've got a 1-to-2 slope here, we've got a 1-to-1 slope up here, and now I'm going to draw my tree. Straight up would be fine for the first bit.
This looks exactly like the long.
Nah. Long section was 12 metres high.
Oh yeah, I know. In terms of like where everything's located.
Considerably different, and you wait till you draw up the other one in the other direction. It's quite different, and I'll be looking for different levels and everything here as well, because it doesn't follow the pipe. Okay, so if I copy that from here to here, and I take away the trunk, the tree trunk, then I've pretty much got what it's going to look like on the other side. So we have a tree on one side, a tree on the other side, but this tree here is going to be in the middle of nowhere, okay, and this tree here, everything below here is going to be hidden. Don't forget to put the level, repeat the level up here with a triangle like you did on your long section. I'm sure all of you did that for the tree. Oops. A little triangle and another level. And don't forget to put the same line on here, but you won't actually see that. But it's nice to know the level that the tree is sitting at. You've got your platform here. It looks a little bit like the other one, but it's a lot more obvious here that there's a lot more fill. This is a time when you can actually draw a P line around here, and you can click on it and go list, and you'll notice it gives you the area, which means you can actually give the area of cut and the area versus the area of fill. Do not be confused, it is not a volume, it's an area only. But it is a very, very good indication of the fact that early on in the piece we think there's going to be a little bit too much fill, quite a bit too much fill. So if you're looking at notes, there's some gold there. So what level is that water? Water, to me, we've lost all our levels. Let's bring our contours back again. The contour level of the water appears at this point down here where we're cutting through to be approximately 17.2. That's if it was fully flooded. So we'll go back over here and we'll draw a line from here up 17.2. And another line on the other side, 17.2. And this bit here is basically our creek. But we know it must be quite a bit further down than that because the pipe comes in at 16, doesn't it? What's this line here? Hello? That pipe should have been from here 16 point, is it 16.14? Oh, it's my bad, the pipe should have been up there, so I'll do that. And it should have been no, there's the pipe there. Sorry. Here's our pipe here. Yeah, I know. Up here 16.14. It's been 1441. 16.14 puts us right there, and our pipe should have been from that point to that point. That point there should have been 18 or 19, is it? It's 19.0. And this point here that it goes to 16.14. Yeah. Now we offset that pipe by 0.45, and there's the pipe there. Now I'd suggest that we have a wee bit of an issue in that we're not going to fit all of that onto the drawing. This is the pipe as it wasn't planned here. So we're not going to fit all that onto the drawing, so we're going to have to break it somewhere, and I think it's just to the side here. So we have to draw a break line about here. I'll just go into the viewport and check that. Yep, can you see that line there, ready to break? Okay, so I'll go back over here and I'll do the following. I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to go draw, once I bring this down, draw, ellipse, centre to centre, so from the centre to there, I'm going to scale that by, from that point by 0.5, I'm going to copy that from here down to there, and I'm going to trim that off, starting with these two, and then that one, and I'll erase that one. There we are, using the Eclipse, I've created a continuous pipe. Now just remember when you do that, I want some information about it. Where's it going to? What are the inverts where it's going to? What is the structure that's at the point where it's going to? You don't have to draw them, you just have to put some information there. I would suggest the easiest way to do it is C note 2 or something, and then in your notes, write about it. Which brings me to the next thing. If you have a look at this, there's nowhere to put notes. So I'm going to have to bring that HAD up. And I would suggest I'm going to have to offset it by at least 10. So I'm going to offset that by 10. Now what a lot of students do here is they completely stuff this up because they forget that this is twice the scale. So last time I offset by 2, this time I'm offsetting by 1, because your text is going to be your text is going to be twice, half the height. You're not going to use the same height text on these. Are you? I hope not. I had some lovely columns on my marking for CAD penalties for not doing things as Ingrid would have wanted or as I would have wanted. So yes, the answer is you are going to draw that with the text the right scale. And I'll set that by 5. Not 10, as we did in the first one. And I'll extend, you remember the extend command as Ingrid showed you was over here. You click on the bottom line and do a green window through all that, look at that, extend it, okay? But you don't have to do that many lines. In fact, you don't even have to do every 5. What I would like to see is the lines coming down from the platform and the line coming down here from the platform which meets the ground, so they're important lines. Once again, you've got a bit of a predicament because you've got lots of lines very close to each other. Don't need these yellow ones. You need the tree. You need the tree here. We've got a bit of an issue because what happens with the ground, the actual ground line, it actually goes to the top of the creek. So here's a very low point, and I would suggest, now listen, you're not qualified engineers, but I would suggest a note from there to there saying that if an engineer needs to investigate whether we need some more fill there. Okay? And I would also suggest that if that's where the creek starts, that's where your outlet structure should start. So it will poke through quite a bit. Alternatively, you take the outlet structure into the creek further down, which I don't think you would do. I think you would take it right back to the beginning of the creek.
And dig out the side.
And dig out the side, yeah. And you would have this backfill behind the outlet structure. So it didn't all wash away down.
So would we actually remove the edge of the creek, or would we leave it as dashed or something?
Well, it's a little bit distorted because it's not along the pipe. The long section shows it along the pipe. This time around we're sort of back from the pipe, looking at it on a bit of an angle. So it's a little bit untrue as to what it actually will look like, but you still will have to draw the structure on them. But you won't have to do it on the other end. Okay? Now, I'm not going to draw AA, but I'm going to tell you AA is going to pretty much look something like this. I'll copy the platform over here. Okay, when you come to do AA, it's going to be almost flat. There's only going to be a little slither, and you've got a 1-to-1 coming down. So AA is going to look very much like this. Not exactly,